Meeting called to order. Roll call.
Mr. Alborough?
Present.
Ms. Calderon?
Here.
Mr. DeCosta? Ms. Coffinger? Mr. Lombardi? Mr. Lumen?
Here.
Ms. Ryan?
Here.
Ms. Dunn? And President Gomez.
Here. Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board statements. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the New Milford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall and the New Milford Public Library. Notices have been sent to the Record and the Twin Borough News. The board announces that under its long-standing policy, it will not discuss in public any comments made by members of the public concerning individual staff members. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. Meetings of the board are open to the public and all members of the community should feel free to participate. Before coming to the board, the chain of command should be followed. There are two portions of the meeting reserved for comments from the public. The first at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items only, and the second at the end of the meeting for other items. Issues raised by the public may or may not be responded to by the board, but all comments will be considered. The board requests that all members of the public be mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Due to confidentiality and legal rights afforded by the state of New Jersey, members of the public are asked to not speak negatively or in a derogatory manner about any employee of the board or any student. Okay, recommended action. I seek a motion to approve minutes July 9th regular and July 24th special. Tony, seconded by Paige Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we're going to have a presentation to review the NJ GPA and access for MLS report spring 2024 administration. Lauren Dr. Yep.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just ask that you bear with us this evening as we are typically in the high school media center. So the presentation is printed for you, for those in attendance tonight. There are copies over by the agenda, and our viewers at home can see it on the screen as well. A copy of the presentation is also posted on our website under the Office of Curriculum and Instruction Annual Assessment Reports. So just as a refresher, the NJGPA, or New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, is a proficiency test that students in 11th grade take in order to meet a requirement for graduation. There are two portions of the assessment. It measures the extent to which students are graduation ready in both English language arts and mathematics. Typically in New Milford, we have two administrations. All of our juniors test in the spring, and this report will share that performance with you. We also offer a fall administration for, they would be seniors who did not meet the cutoff score. The ELA component of the assessment is aligned to the grade 10 standards for English language arts, and the math component is aligned to Algebra 1 and geometry standards. Students are expected to meet a minimum of 725 in each component of the assessment, and in order to meet graduation requirements. If students test and then retest and are still not meeting the requirement, there are alternate pathways to ensure that students can graduate. Those alternate pathways include meeting proficiency on an alternate assessment. Those assessments are also available on our website, but are emailed out in the fall of each year to all of our parents and families. They're alternate competency assessments, and if a student is not able to demonstrate proficiency on one of those assessments, then we go through the portfolio appeal process. We have had students who have not met proficiency who have been successful in the portfolio appeals process. Okay. So now we are looking at the number of students tested and our participation rate. We had 155 juniors test in both ELA and math, and that would equate to 100% participation rate in both content areas. In English language arts, we had 92% of our students demonstrate that they were ready for graduation, 8% not graduation ready. In math, we had 68% deemed graduation ready and 32% not graduation ready. Okay, if you look at the next slide, here we are looking at a comparison to last year's performance, in which you will see there was an increase in both content areas. We increased by 2% in English language arts and 3% in math. And now we are going to look at, Mr. Freed, we are on slide 7. Now we are going to look at a comparison of our performance compared to statewide performance last year and this year. So in 2023, you will see, here you will see that we exceeded the percentage of students who were deemed graduation ready in the area of English language arts, as well as mathematics. In math, I know that that's an area that we're continuing to look closely at. You will see that there was a 1% increase in achievement from 23 to 24 for this state, but for New Milford, we had a 3% increase. So that was a nice gain compared to statewide achievement. Okay, now we're going to look at a breakdown of our subgroups. When looking at our subgroup performance, we always look at ethnicity or race, we look at gender, and we look at program. I'm happy to report, and this is something that should be celebrated, there was an increase from 23 to 24 performance across all of our race groupings, and pretty significant. That was in English language arts as well as in math. In our performance, looking at our gender subgroups, we also had an increase compared to last year, pretty significant for our male students in English language arts. In 2023, we had 83.1% of students who were deemed graduation ready, and this year that number increased to 90%. Okay, now we're looking at the program subgroups. This data shows students belonging to a special program, so our economically disadvantaged or free and reduced lunch group, as well as our gifted and talented students, students with 504, our multilingual learners or MLs, our special education students, and of course our general education students. If there is no number that is a group that is less than 10, we don't put that on there for privacy reasons. And the next slide, we're just going to look at, and then I'm going to highlight some notable achievements and actions and talk about what we're actually doing and how it translates to the classroom. If you recall, our access for ELS is the English proficiency assessment that our multilingual learners take on an annual basis. There are 6 performance categories that reflect their proficiency level in acquiring English, beginning with entering, and the highest level that they would be able to achieve is 6. Students are grouped according to cluster. So we have kindergarten students, first grade students, and then you'll see second and third grade are combined, fourth and fifth are combined, or middle school students are combined in high school. Typically we, and I think you can see by these numbers here, our students in the elementary school tend to make more growth, and that really speaks to what we know about language acquisition and acquiring a new language at an earlier age has been proven to be more successful. And you'll see that it tends to slow as students progress through the grades and we have older MLs in the program. But we do have a very comprehensive program for students across all grade levels, even though it looks a little bit different. You'll see in the earlier grades, we're really looking at like reading and speaking, and as we progress up into high school, we're looking at writing and so forth. The tests, the access for our multilingual learners are used as benchmarks against which we can measure future performance. We use this data when making decisions about a student's programming and course selections. We continue to, once a student has met proficiency or is able to exit the program, we continue to monitor them for 3 years. We continue to track their performance on state standardized assessments to ensure that they are, maintaining that high level of achievement, and we're able to intervene sooner than later if need be. Okay, some notable achievements that really summarize the data that was presented here. So we achieved a 2% increase in the number of students who were deemed graduation ready in English language arts from 2023 to 2024. And we also achieved a 3% increase in graduation ready students in the area of math from 23 to 24. That is compared to a 1% increase the year prior. The analysis of our race performance subgroup shows that 100% of students in both the Asian and Black subgroups were deemed graduation ready in English language arts. Gender performance subgroups reveal that female students outperformed their male counterparts in both content areas. And 69% of our special education students were deemed graduation ready in English language arts, which is also to be celebrated. So what are we doing to support our students' learning? I know I've talked at length about the new standards in both English language arts and mathematics. We spent last year working with teachers revising the curriculum in both content areas and other content areas in which there were interdisciplinary connections to ELA and math. So this year our focus is on implementing the newly aligned curriculum. The state recently announced that they would be delaying implementation of the new math standards until September of 2025. We did the work. We are going to roll it out and get ahead of the curve. Our benchmarks will be aligned to the new standards to give us a really good pulse on students' mastery or areas where they might need additional support. And it will just get us, I think, ahead of the curve for next school year when it is required to be implemented. English language arts, we also revised and already and are moving full steam ahead. As in years past, we have a year-long professional learning continuum that's supported by a district calendar. This includes time, collaborative time for teams of teachers and administrators to look at this data look at the curriculum, look at pacing, look at different classroom resources, and really hone in on the instructional practices that best meet the needs of students sitting in their classrooms. We also include opportunities for vertical articulation, and we're really looking at the transitional grades this school year in which students are moving from one school to the next. So 5th grade into 6th grade, and then our 8th graders into the high school. We're really proud that we have highly qualified professional developers and consultants who work alongside of our teachers in our classrooms. We will be continuing those supports. We've expanded them for this school year. We are including professional development in science and social studies, and we're also looking at opportunities for all of our related arts teachers who, we always talk about ELA and math, but we need to support those teachers and our students learning in those classrooms as well. We are continuing our multi-tier system of supports in both English language arts and math. If you recall, we brought on the Tier 3 interventionist in the elementary level. We are continuing that for this school year, which is the most intensive support on the tier and really provides individualized instruction for students who are not demonstrating growth according to what they should be, what their trajectory of growth should look like. We celebrated the NMASC, or Academic Support for Night program, with one-to-one and small group academic supports for high school students. Students took advantage of that opportunity to come online after hours, not just during the school day, but in the evenings, to meet with some of our teachers who were available to provide support on independent projects and homework that they were working on. We're continuing to expand our co-teaching assignments across all grade levels. Dr. Pro has planned some very thoughtful and meaningful professional development for this year as well. That professional development is tiered. So new teachers or new pairs receive support, as well as those who have been in a co-teaching assignment for several years. We continue targeted walkthroughs in really, I would say, I put ELA and math here, but across all content areas. Those include cross-building, so we're getting our team members out into other buildings and really developing or defining what high-quality instruction looks like. And we were able to, with the last of our ESSER funding, expand our use of the Linkit platform to include expanded storage, or they're called data lockers, where some of the data that we've been storing internally now will be integrated into that platform so that teachers are able to see historical performance for the students that they're inheriting this year, and new benchmarks and some resources in the area of science, because I think that is an area that we continue to look at. This report is not as extensive as the one that will be coming, which highlights our NJSLA performance. We'll be looking at that later this fall, hopefully in September, if not October. But as I had shared earlier, this presentation is available on our website, as well as the last 3 or 4 years of performance reports. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So regarding the mathematics not being graduation ready at 32%, I know it's still better than the state average, and you compare it to a year before, but previous years, is that the range we're usually at? I just don't remember, that's why.
So the NJGPA is a relatively new assessment.
Okay.
We have 2023 data. I have to look back and see off the top of my head. But we're slowly making gains, which is at a slow rate, which is typical of what we've seen in the past. But our preliminary data on the NJSLA shows that we've made a lot of gains in that content area, which we'll share.
Excuse me. Lauren, you mentioned that special ed with English language arts, I think the number was 67 or 69%.
69%.
Is that the same standard that non-special ed, or is that a modified standard?
They take the same assessment,
Same assessment.
same assessment.
So then 60, whatever it was, percent of that, of those students actually met a standard of that non-special ed students have as well.
So, of the special education population, juniors who took the assessment, 69% of that little subgroup met proficiency,
Yeah, that's
which
great.
is, and it's the same assessment, it's not modified.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Paige?
So Heather asked the one question, so, which it's not really that question specifically, because I do know, but there was a question regarding the change in the math standards. So when you said the state is delaying the standards, are they delaying the standards that are related to this particular assessment, or the standards that are overall standards, because we also do NJ also?
So, all of our curriculum is aligned to the New Jersey Student Learning Standards,
Mhm.
and we have standards in English language arts and math, as well as other content areas. The assessments are based on those standards. This particular assessment is aligned to the grade 10 standards for English language arts, and in math, it's Algebra 1 and geometry. So for the NJGPA for our juniors in the spring, that assessment will be aligned to the prior standards,
Okay.
not the new standards.
Yeah.
That being said, there are not many changes in the area of math, particularly at the high school.
Yeah, and that's what I was
So
going to ask.
we will
It's
stay
like-
ahead of that, yes.
I'm just looking at the state numbers, and then they're changing the assessment, the standards, and generally speaking, when things change, scores tend to, because everybody's just trying to get used to it. So I'm just curious where the changes were, and you're saying,
Most
At
of
the
the
high school
changes in
level,
the
not so
standards
much.
in ELA and math, we have documents that are called like crosswalks, and they'll
Yeah.
show you all of the changes from the old ones to the new ones. Most of them, out of these two content areas, it was very heavy in our early grades for English language arts,
Right.
like the foundational skills, reading and writing. In math, it was the elimination of measurement and data, kind of like bigger
Yeah.
things.
okay.
Yeah.
And then one where you said that the expanded use of the benchmarks, right? So you said use of the last of our ESSER funding, which we knew it would run out eventually,
Yes.
and we're here. So is this what we just did? One, is that just a one-time expense that we did, that we used the money for, or is this something that we're going to need to maintain and like sort of, whatever
Yeah,
the
good
things are?
question.
And is it sustainable?
So, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So the data lockers and having that historical knowledge of our student performance, yes, we will be able to continue that. We are piloting or trying out a component of the platform called Intervention Manager, which will help support our multi-tiered system, right, to really like hone in on that individualized piece. But we've never tried it. It's something that we're doing early enough that when we begin budget development for next school year, we can certainly talk about that, and we're really impressed with it, but we took advantage of having that last chunk of funding.
I think that was it. And then you said that continuing with the tier 3 interventionist, I probably missed it. Is that at all grade level? I forget, is that at all grade levels, or is that at elementary?
That was really at the elementary level.
Okay.
I think that typically is where we see the most movement in terms of students being identified as in need of additional supports.
Mhm.
So because that population is quite fluid, and, our goal is really to intervene sooner rather than later and fill those gaps and get them exited back into the regular classroom,
Right.
the better.
and I might be using the wrong term, so I apologize, but the program that the state, that we applied for, the
HIP
grant,
grant?
where we got the tutoring.
Yes.
thing. Is that still happening?
So, yeah, well, no, that was, so we launched that in the spring.
Yep.
And we had tutoring over the summer.
Yes.
So the state just did share news that they were going to be offering districts who participated additional funding. It's not as significant as what we have received.
8% of the original pot.
Okay.
So-
Comes out to about $9,000.
Well, $9,000.
Yeah. So we will look at
Okay.
utilizing that. There was no additional information on
No.
how to apply for that. We just put it in.
But they just said you have it, so now we're gonna let you keep it. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
I wait till the last, so I know that I don't like a lot of time. Okay, so data, right? So I can assume, right, we can assume that there's more data to this assessment than like you're presenting right now. So there's a way for you to determine based on the types of questions that they're getting incorrect or the ones that they're excelling at, like where we would need to focus some of the supports for the teachers, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I guess what I'm kind of getting at is, do we have enough data to determine whether or not the supports that we're currently providing for math, like to the teachers, to the students, whether or not those are enough? Like, is this the type of increase that we can expect, like at this rate, or should it be higher, or should it be lower? Because I guess what I'm trying to drive at is, have we determined whether or not what we're doing is actually working? Is there something that we need to change? Is there anything that, you know, like anything that the data tells us that says like, you know what, some of these kids are having more trouble with this subject and we need to kind of dive into that more?
Sure, so, good question. And the answer is yes, but I just want to preface this with, every time I feel like I say this every time I do one of these reports, this is just one piece of the big puzzle, right? So when I think about student performance, I really think about a scrapbook, different data sources, not just standardized testing, but classroom performance, products, assessments. You know, we look at standardized testing as one of those pieces for the scrapbook, among many things. We have been doing so much in the area of professional development. One of the things that we looked at and I'm just going to give you an example in particular, when we were building our annual school plans for Title I, a lot of that professional development is funded through our title money. We looked at the professional development that we had in place and the growth of students who were directly impacted by that professional development and that work compared to students who didn't have access. And we used that to inform our plan for this school year. So we do take that into account. And, you know, if something is not working, we don't continue it, or we look to do something in a different way.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. I guess because, you know, and I understand standardized tests are just one of the factors that we look at, but I know that it's kind of a recurring theme in our discussions, whether or not it's this standardized test or another one, that we, you know, one of the things we're gonna work on is improving that score, so.
I think everyone will be pleased when we see that in JSLA, because I know that we've been talking consistently for some time now about math, and there's really a lot there to celebrate.
Okay. Thank you, Lauren. Okay. Superintendent of Schools report, Peter Galasso.
All right, first, thank you very much, for having me and hiring me. It's been a pleasure. I'm getting to know everybody. Great conversations, and it's almost been, fun, but it's certainly enjoyable. There's something about meeting people and working with them, and establishing goals and fixing problems with good people that makes it fulfilling, and it's been very reinvigorating, so I thank you. I would like to acknowledge first, speaking of good people, Joe Riccadelli, our new Milford Athletic Director, has been recognized by the National Interscholastic Athletic Administration Association, the NIAA, as achieving the level of Certified Master Athletic Administrator. To earn this distinction, Mr. Riccadelli has demonstrated exemplary knowledge, contributions, and ongoing PD development in the field of athletic administration. The certification process to achieve Master Athletic Administrator included a thorough evaluation of the candidate's educational background, experience, leadership courses, and professional contributions. The process culminates with a project, and his project in particular was looking at the safety and security of athletic events and came up with a emergency action plan for New Milford's athletic venues, where, to be honest, every athletic venue is pretty much open. We have a lot of spectators coming, and we're going to be talking about how we're going to implement that into New Milford. He also spearheaded with Chris Brown of Park Ridge a spectator code of conduct, which is very interesting. He actually presented at the state level at the NJSIAA. The state liked it enough where they tweaked it a little bit. Now we're rolling it out as a state program. So that came to fruition from Mr. Riccadelli and Chris Brown. So that's very exciting. They have given Joe Riccadelli $9,000 to help roll it out in the conference and bequeathed money to other conferences in the state. So when we look up and see the new banner for sportsmanship and spectator conduct, that is from Joe Riccadelli. So congratulations. I have never met a master athletic director, so he's the first one I've actually shaken hands with. So he's to be congratulated. I also want to point out there is no raise for him to do this. This was an intrinsic motivation just to develop himself for the betterment of himself and hopefully bring more back to the community and the kids. So I really want to give him some accolades and give him just a quick round of applause for achieving that. He could not be here tonight. He is going out to eat with his daughter, I guess, before she goes back to college. A welcome email was sent out from my office on August 16th, and a parent survey was disseminated on Monday, August 26th through Parent Square, which will help me gather honest feedback based on a simple Likert scale, strongly agree, strongly disagree. I've already had over 200 respondents, which I like looking at. There are 7 aspects to the survey: academic programs, social emotional supports, environment, co-curricular activities, facility, communication, and overall educational experience. So they just rank them, strongly agree, neutral, and so on and so forth. And there's also a place to comment, and I thank you for the comments with specificity. I'll just say they're interesting. The survey will be open until September 13th. So thank you to those who have responded, and please, I encourage you to respond. I'm reading every single comment, so it will get to me. New Milford runs a number of summer programs for the students, including Camp DEO for our incoming 6th graders, the transition program from 5th to 6th grade, so they get to meet Mr. Delala and Mrs. Perna and go through some icebreaker activities to get to know themselves and each other. They are from 2 feeder schools, so they may know each other or may not, depending on what rec programs are involved or not. We also run a summer step-up for our K-2 to help them transition. Any lower elementary transitional programs are wonderful. It helps them build stamina, but also gets them acclimated to school, so there's not so much of a summer slide, and they practice number fluency and reading. Freshman orientation took place yesterday, August 27th. Pretty good turnout. I got to speak to them and see them, and that's what I love doing in education. So that was a lot of fun. They don't know me from Adam yet, so a couple of blank faces, tried to make them laugh. Works sometimes, but it'll be nice to get to know them. They took a tour of the school, and they partnered with NJ4S, which is a state program that came in, and it peer relationships, team building, and also bought them all a lunch, and that was successful. I know it was a little while ago, but I also was fortunate enough to attend Annie over the summer, which is something that, particular to Milford, doing a summer musical. My only regret is I did not bring my daughters, even my son. My son would have even liked it, I believe. Very talented youth, and it was a nice program to see, and I'm glad they were offering it over the summer. It was a lot of fun. Funny, and a lot of fun, a lot of talent. I want to thank the staff for putting all that work in. Fall sports season, we're working hard since mid-August preparing for the season. Student athletes and coaches for cross-country, football, girls volleyball, cheerleading, girls tennis, and boys and girls soccer have all been waking up early and putting in the time ready to compete for the season openers. Marching band as well completed their band camp. I will say I get here around 7:15, and the football kids, cross-country kids, sometimes soccer kids are already getting on the field, which is pretty early. They beat the heat, and I love the discipline it takes to get up and get out there and the numbers are great. I even see kids when they're running late, they're not walking and moseying in all sad, they're actually running to the practice, which means there's a healthy fear they're being late, which we like to develop, and hopefully that carries over to school as well. The elementary schools will have their traditional sneak and peek on September 4th, which will afford students in the elementary level to go and get a sneak peek at their elementary classroom with their teachers for a half hour. I appreciate the teachers opening up their classrooms during the summer and getting ready in that first couple of days. It's very hectic then as they prepare, but obviously they want to make the transition as simple as possible for these children, and I hope everyone takes advantage of that. The New Milford Borough contacted the district regarding a job opportunity for our 16 to 18-year-old students to help with the voting booths. It's a voting year, and in November the polls will be open. And I'm always looking for opportunities to get our kids money, or get anybody money really. So we partnered with the county and we sent out a survey, and the response was overwhelming. 16 to 18-year-olds can work the voting booths, and they are encouraging this. No offense to the senior citizens, but it's so technology oriented now, they actually feel like it's smoother with the young children. Hackensack rolled it out with Hackensack children last year and a couple of years ago, I believe, and it was overwhelmingly success. So the borough reached out and wants to open it up to New Milford. I think within a day and a half, we had 77 applicants, so I had to shut the poll down, and now I have to wait for the county to say we want this many applicants. And then some people will be happy, some people will be disappointed, based on who gets in. But I think it's a great opportunity, and something, if it works, we'll continue it. The new teacher orientation took place August 20th to 22nd, of which 20 teachers attended. Ms. Odoxta, thank you, and the staff presented on topics including technology, curriculum, professional growth, formative assessment, evaluation structures, culminating in a town tour. A lot of stuff happens at this time. A lot of time the young teachers are like our young kids, and they're very inquisitive, and it's a new space for them, so it's nice to see them all bright-eyed. There have been a lot of work across all facilities, which Mr. Watson will get to. I think we're going to be very happy with that. I just want to end with, as I wrap up, it's really nice for me to be back. I see old faces and new faces. I could really picture nothing else in my career now that I'm here. So it's been really reinvigorating for me, and very exciting. And I mean it. Listen, it's a lot of work and a lot of learning. Ms. Odoxta, Mr. Watson, Mr. Guerra have been helping me out a lot. But it has been really fun, getting to do this again. So that is it. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Assistant Superintendent report, Lauren Odoxta. Nothing else? Okay. Acting Business Administrator report, Bruce Watson.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Gomez. First of all, I'd like to say hello, being new, and to some of you. As you know, I just let all the folks know in the audience, I'm here for a few months while our business administrator is out, so I'm just filling in to help out. So let me share a couple of things that we've been working on. On the agenda, you're going to have some items that you'll be voting on tonight. So I've explained some of them in the areas of facilities, etc. If you go and look at 2425.46 and .47, we had a surprise. It was my second day in the office, and our facilities manager, Brian, had called and said, would you come down to the high school cafeteria? And I did, and unfortunately, there was a major problem. We had the grease traps could not be cleaned, everything was backed up. I asked how long this has been going on. We've had this problem going on about 3 years now. So it was at a point where we had to do something, had to get ready. I informed the board president, obviously being here 2 days, the protocol of communication was not established, so the starting to do was call the board president and keep the president informed. We didn't have the money in the budget. I have a file I brought with me of pictures. If somebody on the board is interested in seeing what it looked like and what we did, I'm going to pass this around and you can take a look if you're interested. We can take a peek at it. It was quite a mess. We had the environmental company come in and test it. As we took it apart, it was fine. There was more toxins in the soil, but there was a lot of dirt and rusted pipe that had clogged everything, and also grease backup. So we went through and performed this with this company. We didn't have a budget item, so we were looking for money to pay this, so we had to get a little creative, and we did have some money in our food service account. Normally, you use that money to buy new equipment for your food service program, to keep your food service going from year to year. So we borrowed that money, made the immediate purchase orders necessary to get the company in, which is on a co-op, and we used that so we could move on it quickly. And what we're going to do is reimburse the food service account with a transfer, which is the one item right underneath it, out of your maintenance reserve account, which has about 600, I think it's about 640,000, and there's a lot of money in that account. I went through the audit, looked at the audit, made sure we had enough money. So we have a motion on to approve that, so we're going to reimburse that money back to the food service, and we should be whole. That was quite an experience, but the company, I'll give a lot of credit to our facilities director, Brian, did a great job working with the contractor, also working with me and keeping me informed, etc. So, hats off to Brian. At that point, I would like to just make a comment that since I walked in the door, the office, there was short one person in the office, this particular person joined us September 1, but the other people in my office, and is Terry, Kate, and Faith, have been terrific, and I think professionally we bonded the second day. I'd like to say day one, but I'll give it day two. And we got along great, and they've been very, very supportive, as well as other people in the district who I've been seeing, some of the principals I've visited with them, up through the buildings, looked at some of the issues. Working with Lauren again has been very enjoyable, and obviously getting to know your new superintendent. So we have a lot of nice things going on, and I just want to say thank you to those folks, because when I asked them to meet with me or get something, it's immediate. So that's a nice relationship. On the facilities, as the board knows, you have two major roofing projects going on. I'm happy to report they're in very good shape. I've been up on the roofs with the architects and looking at them. Made some recommendations, which they're making some change. As you know, we have a ROD grant for both of them, and working with the SDA, which is the School Development Authority, is not easy. They're not easy to work with. I've made the first application to get some of our money from the SDA. It's already in. I've been spending time doing that, so we'll see how quickly they move. I was just told that the next step is that they will send, after reviewing everything I sent them in big packets, they will send an inspector out before they release money to see if I'm telling the truth. But if they want to look at the job, so they'll come out and get on a roof and look at the job with us, and I'll certainly go with them. The contractors that we have, excellent. I've worked with a lot of roofing contractors in my career, and these two are very good. So you lucked out with your bidding here, and so we're doing that. And the roofs are good. We have what is called metal work that both of the roofs have to do. You have to order that metal. Metal work is usually your drains, your gutters, your flashing, things of that nature. So you have to order that metal, and then we have to bring it on site and then have the contractor cut it and then fit it. So we will be doing that when school opens. However, we'll be doing that on weekends and then on evenings after school is out, not during the day. So they know that. So those are really the major projects. The other thing we have going on for safety is we are removing 10 trees. Most of them are dead. 2 of them are leaning over very dangerously, and we're going to get them done here on the middle school campus, out in the back. So we are removing those trees. That motion is on here for you to approve as well. I believe that's DOT 51. And the nice part about the roofs is we have a change order, which is a negative. So we're actually getting back. We're reducing, after a lot of conversation, we're reducing the one bid by $27,509, and you're going to vote to accept that money back. So we're going to reduce our cost on that. And just keep your fingers crossed that the ROD grants and SDA is going to work a little quicker than normal. But we're in the first round of this, I was told, so we're pretty aggressive on it, and it seems to be going well. And that's pretty much it for the report since I've been here, so I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
The roofs are done, or they're ready to go?
The Gibbs roof is going for a punch list, so I would say that's 95% done, except for the metal work, et cetera. But we got a punch list, they got just some minor stuff to do. The big metal work is at the high school. I say the high school is about, if I have to give a number, I would say about 80%. Yeah. But all the problem where you have the hot bituminous, you have all that smell, that's gone. Those kettles are done, so we're not gonna have any of that, so we'll be pretty good with that.
And so there'll still be some closed areas to the high school and the open?
Well, it won't be closed, we're gonna have that all cleaned up and open for parking and everything else. We just got done blowing it for, usually when you're done with that, you get the contractor to come in, they very seldom do a real good job, so we went out with our blowers, and because you're gonna find screws and nails all over, so we really did. And Brian, your facilities manager, did a great job. He was out there personally on a one big blower, so we cleaned all of that up. So I give him a lot of credit, he's a good man.
I think you probably have my question, is there any residual impact from the roofs on opening day?
No, I don't think so. I think opening day, I was more concerned about the kitchen, quite frankly, than anything else in the high school, but we did get it done on time. And if you look at those pictures, you can see everything we did. I was really concerned on that because I've been involved in those. Sometimes they can go really sour, but we got through it. So. But the roofs will be fine.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Any liaison board committee reports? Any correspondence? You got any correspondence? Okay. Open to the public for items on the agenda. As outlined in the Milford Board of Education bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. I see the motion page, seconded by Joe Linham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have a question about an item agenda. I didn't really, can I bring that up before the public, just because?
What do we do when we get to that part of the agenda?
Oh,
Do you want to do it then?
well,
Well, let's see if the public wants to ask a
Sure.
question first.
okay.
Anyone from the public have any questions? Please state your name and town.
Lynn LePage, New Milford. Well, first, welcome to Mr. Galasso, and welcome back to Mr. Watson. It's great to see you both up there. I have a couple of questions. So BA 16, it's an additional extra pay position, and there's never an objection to an additional extra pay position, but it isn't on the current stipend schedule, and I'm just wondering if it was run by the NMEA, and I'm guessing that the stipend came from the assistant band director stipend. I'm assuming that's where the amount came from.
So it's my understanding in talking to the high school administrator that when there's overages, in terms of band numbers, that they get another adult or supervisor. So it's not on the normal Schedule D. So because the overage in numbers, they get another assistant band director.
That's what he said? Okay. All right. C3. Are you able to give me the salary for that math consulting?
Can you repeat which question you're?
Yeah.
C24-25.3?
Yes,
Oh,
three,
okay.
yes. Like, I don't know.
Which
if you-
one, Ms. Levine?
The first one under educational programs and curriculum.
Allison Mello, math consultant?
Yeah. Curious.
So we have a contract that is title funded. I can share the details.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said.
So,
If we have a contract for this school year that is, it's actually part of our professional development that is Title I funded. So it's not supported locally, but I could share the details with Mr.
Okay.
Glasso and you can get that.
All right, okay, thank you. And one last thing, P 24-2519. Is that a new position? I don't know that I ever remember seeing that before.
the approval of health assistant.
Yeah,
I believe she was employed last year. I believe she has been employed last year. In conversations, her name was brought up.
okay.
As far as the position,
So
I
it's,
cannot speak to that.
but I mean, it's not new. It's been
No.
around.
Yes.
Okay, all right, I just didn't recognize it, I wasn't sure what it was. Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else from the public have any questions? I seek a motion to close to the public. Paige, seconded by Tony Albro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Joe, do you want to ask your question now?
Sure. It's actually on educational programs and curriculum. So C2425.11, approval of college credit partnership. This is something that, came up a couple of years ago, was going to be put into play. I don't remember, to be frank, if it was put into last school year or if we announced that it was delayed to this year. It was last year, right? So, okay, perfect. So my question was, and I don't know if you know the answer to this or anybody else has the answer to this. If not, somebody can get back to me, that's fine. But the question I have is how many students do we have taking advantage of this in 23-24 calendar year? How many do we currently have enrolled for 24-25? And then the last part to that is there still time for any students who may want to sign up for this upcoming year?
Do you know the answer? Or no?
I know some of it. So I know at graduation, 3 students were honored for getting their associates early through Bergen Community College. That's kind of what the program does. I also know that this year there are 2 students in the program. One is in the second year and one is in their first year. So in 23-24, I guess there were 4 students in it. 3 achieved that associative degree through Bergen Community College, and this year there are 2. As far as being able to sign up, I do not have an answer for you at that time, and I have to get back to you.
You good?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Educational Programs and Curriculum Committee. Since Stephanie's not here tonight, I will do that. I seek a motion for C24-25.3, C24-20. Oh, I missed it. I got confused because he went into that.
It's
See?
your job, anyway, so.
Okay, board action. I seek a motion for VA 23-24.11, .12, .13, .14, .15, and .16. I need a second. Tony Albro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, back to educational programs and curriculum. I seek a motion for C24-25.3, .7, .8, .9, .10, and .11. Need a second. Paige Ryan, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, personnel recommendations. Having the recommendation of the superintendent, I seek a motion for P23-24.96, .156, .162, .166. P24-25.9, .11, .15, .19, .20, .21, .22. .23, .25, .25, .26, .27, .28, .29, .30, .31, .32, .33, .34, .35, .36, .37, .38, .39, .40, .41, .42, .43, .44, and .45. Roll call?
Mr. Albro? Yes. Ms. Calderon?
Yes.
Mr. DeCosta's not here. Mr. Fuhrman's not here. Mr. Absent. Mr. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Luna?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yeah.
Ms. Dunn is absent. Ms. Gomez?
Yes.
I just, I said Patrick is retiring, so these are the custodians, so we see him all the time, when we're coming in and out, so.
Will you recognize him at the end of the year at his retirement? Okay. Finance and Facilities Committee, Cheryl Calderon.
I seek a motion for approval of F22-23.222, F23-24.272, F24-25.18, .19, .20, .21, .22, .23, .24, .25, .26, .27, .28, .29, .30, .31, .32, .33, .34, .36, .37, .38, .39, .40, .41, .42, .43, .44, .45, .46, .47, .48, .49, .50, .51, .52, .53, .54, .55, .56.
Mrs. Gomez, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Regarding 2425.56. Over the Moon, is that a full day program or a part day?
I'm not sure if she has some students who say part of the day or.
Okay, so maybe we can answer to that.
I need a second. Joe Lunam, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Athletics Co-Curricular Committee. Andrew, would you like to do this?
Sure. Seek approval for AC 2425.2, .3, .4, and .5.
Need a second. Shower Calderon, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you for the volunteers.
Yes, thank you, there's a lot of volunteers. Any old business? Any new business? Okay,
I think we'll put
old business.
so, not business, but we had talked at a previous meeting about getting together with the mayor and council regarding the pilot program. I know we're coordinating the dates, so I just wanted to make sure that we know that, I don't know if the public knows, we are keeping in contact because we want to be a part of that discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been in communication with all of us, with the mayor and council, the mayor and Christine Damaris, and we are working on dates. We kind of thought we would try to do it during the summer and then things get difficult. We're gonna work on something for after Labor Day, and then try to find like an optimal time when, everyone can, attend. And actually, I saw the mayor at a recognition ceremony for the soccer teams on Monday, and we threw out some ideas. So it's definitely something that's on everyone's radar. They're aware of our, kind of not concerns, but that we want to be part of the discussion. So they've been very responsive and are willing to sit down with us.
Anyone else? Any new business? Okay, open to the public. As outlined in New Milford Board of Education bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. I need a second. Tony Albro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, board member requests for additional information. Wait. You want to say something?
Yes, Liz.
Sure.
It's great to see everybody. Hope everyone's had a great summer. I would just begin a little bit out of order. Say it is also my understanding as well as per what Ms. Calderon had said, that Ms. Damaris, our borough administrator, will be reaching out to your committee and looks forward to speaking with your committee, working with your committee. So that's absolutely correct, and thank you for your hard work on that initiative. It's greatly appreciated. In terms of upcoming events, on Friday, September 6th, will be a tailgate party for the first home football game. It should start around 5:30 at Knights Field at the Pavilion. On Sunday, the 8th of September, will be this year's fishing derby, which has been organized by the municipal lines. And that will run from approximately 8 o'clock in the morning through the afternoon at Hardcastle Pond. And on Wednesday, 9/11, the proclamation will be read at 11 o'clock in the morning at Fire Company 2 in memory of those that we lost on that day. And on Tuesday, October 29th, at 6 p.m. will be this year's 6th annual Domestic Violence Awareness Symposium. And once again, our partners in that initiative thank the district, thank the superintendent, and thank the school board for its ongoing support. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Okay, I seek a motion to close to the public. Tony Alvaro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, request Board member request for additional information. Tony?
Mr. Galasso, once the school year begins, could we get a report of our Owens Middle School 8th grade graduates and where their destinations were this September?
Yep, we're already working on it.
Anyone else? Okay, closed session.
I have a,
Oh.
kind of going along with what Anthony just said. I don't know if you'll be able to do this, but how many students returned back to the high school? So students that didn't come to New Milford in their freshman year, but have returned since. If we're gonna, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, closed session. It is hereby moved that the Board of Education adjourn into executive session in accordance with the provisions of Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL, for the purpose of discussion and consideration of matters pertaining to the following subject: personnel and student matter. The minutes of the executive session will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I seek a motion to go into close. Paige, seconded by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and we would not be coming back. Thank you. But thank you for everyone.